degrees, okay? So if something goes wrong with your air conditioner, I had that happen. Had my air conditioner go while I'm out on a chase with my dog. Not fun. If you can put together a checklist before the season starts and then kind of keep an eye on these things throughout the year. Tires. Go around, check every single tire. Look, make sure you don't have nails, screws, pieces of metal, the things from the road that get embedded in our tires that, you catch it in your driveway. It's a trip over to Costco or Discount Tire, and it's not a big deal. If you catch it when you're in cells at 2 in the morning, it's not as much fun. So check your tires, check your tire pressure. Look at your spare. Number one, make sure it's there. And number two, make sure it's inflated. I've had people go out, I swear in my life, I've pulled up on people on the side of the road. Oh, you got a flat tire. Here, let me help you change it. Where's the spare? I don't know. You got a spare? I don't know. Well, let's look. Here, we'll open up the trunk. Oh, there's the spare. Flat. Useful. So anyway, the battery, that's another really, really big one. My mechanic gave me a hard time before I went this year. My vehicle had, when I left for the storm season, just crossed over 100,000 miles, but I had never changed the battery in it. And I said, swap it out. He said, oh, the battery tests good, it's fine. I said, swap it out. Because I do not want to be out in the middle of nowhere and not be able to start my vehicle. Fluids, oil, coolant, washer fluid, all that fun stuff. Get those oil changes, it's important. And then I took my vehicle in for basic service. I said, go check all the fluids, check the belts, the hoses, make sure everything's good. Paid probably an obscene amount of money to have that done. And then I got home, I was getting ready to leave, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna pop the hood, and I'm gonna take a look myself. Open the hood, no coolant, none,
Wow.
Zero, none. There was no leak, there was just none. So trust but verify as you're doing all this fun stuff. Wiper blades, another big one, especially in Arizona. You get those big microbursts and all that rain, and you want to be able to see. Trust me on that. Emergency supplies. In case you do get stranded out there, always carry a ton of water with you, some food, first aid kits, sunscreen, and especially if you're chasing Marana, insect repellent. You don't think of Arizona as having a lot of bugs, but boy, when that monsoon hits and you get out in some of those farm fields, they will carry you away. Rain-X is another good one that people don't think of, but Rain-X is fantastic, especially if you're going to be driving around in the monsoon. You get those downpours, it'll improve your visibility 1,000-fold. And then here's a new one this year that I learned. Okay, I was in Fort Morgan, Colorado. This was the day of the Imperial Supercell. Tori, I hate you. I'll tell you why in a minute. Anyway, so first Supercell I was on was in Fort Morgan, and I get out, I'm underneath the wall cloud on this thing, it's getting ready to produce a tornado. I jump up there, I'm like, ooh, sweet, we're gonna get a tornado. Forms right out in the field next to me. Wasn't a very big tornado, but still, tornado forming a field right next to you. RFD comes ripping around the backside, and it did something kind of weird. It took both of my wipers and just bent them backwards. No damage, no anything other than it just yanked both of my wipers, bent the arms back, and suddenly I'm out there in a supercell and I don't have working windshield wipers. So I get up to a Love's gas station, I bend the arms back, and the dumb wipers still don't work. Anybody know why? We have mechanics in this room, I know we do. Where's Kevin? Kevin's sleeping in the back. Okay, you should know this one. My wipers don't work. But they have power going to them, why don't they work? The nut came loose. When they flew up and around, the nut came loose. And so, here, this one's super easy. Go over to Home Depot, Lowe's, get one of these, keep it in your vehicle. It'll cost you $4, but if your wipers suddenly stop going, all you have to do is get in there, tighten that little nut back up, and you're back in business. So fortunately, we were able to do that, race back up underneath the storm, got the supercell going again, new supercell blows up right to the south of it, and I'm thinking, sweet, I'm gonna do my signature move, I'm gonna dump the first one, I'm gonna drop south on this next one, it's gonna be epic. So I'm in underneath the storm, beautiful wall clouds swirling around down there, I'm thinking if this thing produces a tornado, I'm right there. And then I'm in a chat group online with a couple other storm chasers and friends, and all of a sudden, photo pops through from Tori. beautiful structure, unbelievable supercell, like things that dreams are made of. And I said, what storm is that? And then somebody else jumped in. They were like, oh, I think it's that one moving into North Platte. And I was like, oh, of course, the one I just dumped. And then I lost my cell phone signal for like 15 minutes, and all of a sudden it pops in another message from Tori. That's Imperial. I'm not going, what? I'm under it. I couldn't see any of the structure. And so I'm racing, trying to get out in front of this thing again, and I never did it. So I never managed to get back out in front of it until like it was almost dark at that point. You could hardly see anything. But anyway, that's storm chasing for you. Okay. Now, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the example that I gave with Amy. In potentially dangerous situations, keep your vehicle running. A lot of people, oh my God, I don't want to burn gas. I don't want to let my car idle. Do you want to get run over by a tornado? Do you want to get hailed on? Would you like to get washed away in a flash flood in a wash? Keep your vehicle running. It's worth the 30 cents extra during the day that you might spend on gas. Because if you jump back in that vehicle and you try to start it and it won't start, and you have bad coming up right behind you, you don't have a whole lot of time to do anything about it. Jumping forward, so allowing extra time for the unexpected. Same situation, tornado warned storm, tornado right behind me. Look where I am. This is not a red light going through a town. This is one of those construction zones where they have traffic going down to one lane, and there is nothing you can do besides wait for the traffic coming the other direction. So if you're one of those hot shots who likes to wait till the last minute on anything, I'm going to get that lightning bolt that's going to come in and it's going to drop 10 feet in front of me, I'm going to have the best picture in the world. You just maybe get to moving along a little bit sooner than you otherwise would. I thought there was a chance that that might be the last thing I ever saw. Fortunately, it was not a very strong tornado. It did not last very long. And about 15 seconds after I took this picture, fortunately, this little puppy turned green and I was able to get on my way. But the point is, don't wait till the last second on stuff. You can get it. You all have zoom lenses if you have a camera. You can get up a little bit further, get to a safe spot. There's nothing wrong with shooting it from there. Flooding. Okay, we touched on this a little bit, but this is a big one in Arizona. Flooding can occur very, very quickly, and in some cases, dozens of miles from the actual storm that produced it. So this is something you really have to keep in mind when you're out here doing monsoon stuff, because these washes will rise in a hurry, and sometimes it's not just a matter of being in the wash, but you can be in a spot where you're trapped between two washes, and at that point you're just stuck until the water goes down and you can get through. So it's really, really important to be aware of washes, river crossings, bridges, any other low-lying areas that might be out where you're chasing, and know where those are at all times, and know which direction they flow, so that you can look at a storm and get a pretty good assessment of whether or not that wash has a chance of flooding while you're nearby. Lightning, this is a big one, especially out here. Lightning can and does frequently strike miles away from the parent storm. So it's really important to know where the updraft base is located, pay attention to spreading anvils above you, and avoid tall trees, cell phone towers, power lines, anything big nearby that might attract a lightning bolt. Why did I include this picture here? Okay, this is another Nebraska treasure. Okay, this was the day before the Cook tornado. We had some storms in the evening, and I thought, I'm gonna go out and shoot some lightning. So it had gotten dark. There was a storm that was moving off above these, rolling grass hills, and we were getting some anvil crawlers that were coming up here, and I thought, okay, this will make a cool time lapse. I was 34 miles from the storm base. 34 miles. What's causing this to look like it's the middle of the day? Bolt that struck behind me. There was just off of this road that I was on, about 300 or so yards out into the field. There was a string of power lines. They were off the road enough that I wasn't right by them, but 300 yards is still close. The bolt that you can see in this picture is you had this anvil crawler, and then the bolt came up. You can just see the beginnings of it here. It came up over the top and hit the pole behind me, 34 miles away from the storm base. So be aware of this stuff when you're out. It's really easy to go, oh my gosh, the storm's way over there. It's over the mountain. I'm not going to worry about these power lines that are right behind me. Worry about the power lines. Find a spot where you're not underneath them. Unfortunately, there are a lot of different ways lightning can kill you. Has anybody been on the National Weather Service educational page about lightning? I would highly recommend that everybody takes a look at that page. Number one, it will absolutely terrify you. But that's not why I want you to see it. You will learn a lot about lightning, and you will learn to respect lightning and the different ways that lightning can affect you as a photographer, storm chaser, while you're out there in the field. Everybody thinks of, well, a lightning bolt is, maybe a couple inches wide. I'm one person, I'm standing out there. What the heck are the odds that I'm gonna get hit? Because you're thinking of it in your head, oh, a lightning bolt coming down and boom, plunking me in the melon. That's not the way most people get injured or killed by lightning. Yes, you can get hit by a direct strike. You can also get hit by a side flash. I actually had this happen to my vehicle 2 years ago. I was chasing in Oklahoma and had a lightning strike that hit a power pole and had a side flash jump over to my roof rack. Fried my GPS, fried my radio, every electrical thing in my car, cooked it. And that wasn't even a direct hit. That was just a side flash, bang, but it'll still screw up your chase in a hurry if all your electronics, all your stuff is fried. Ground current. This is the one that I want to talk to you guys about and spend a little bit of time on. When a lightning strike hits the ground, it's not over. All that energy and all that current has to go somewhere, right? Where does it go? It spreads out through the ground. So lightning doesn't have to hit you to injure you or kill you. Lightning can strike nearby, and you actually become a conductor for some of that energy as it goes away. What happens is lightning strikes over here, comes through the ground, it's going to enter my body through the closest point to that lightning strike, and it's going to come up, it comes up through your cardiovascular system, and then it exits whatever other point is touching the ground. A lot of times you've probably seen on the news, you'll see the pictures where an entire herd of cattle get taken out by a lightning strike. And the way that happens is they have long bodies. So they have the front hoops up here, and then you've got, a couple, 3-4 feet, and then they've got the back. So that current is actually traveling inside of them for a good distance. So if you're out, don't know that's going to help you much, but they say one of the things that you can do is reduce the amount of space that's between where lightning would enter and exit your body. But hopefully you guys aren't going to get close enough to find out. So let's not use that one. Another one that I'll just touch on briefly, conduction. Let's say you're standing next to a fence, touching a fence, you have your tripod leaned up against a fence. Lightning can hit further down that fence, and if it's got metal barbed wire on it, travel right along the barbed wire. And then streamers, anytime you get a lightning strike, you have a bunch of upward leaders that are attempting to connect to the ground. Sometimes they're successful and sometimes they're not, but you really don't want to get hit by lightning from down underneath you either. Not fun. Okay, so let's talk about shooting lightning safely. The idea is we just want to give ourselves a little bit more distance. There's nothing wrong with breaking out that zoom lens. You don't want to shoot lightning at like 200 millimeters because you're not going to be sharp. But I love to shoot lightning with like a 50 to an 85 millimeter lens. You get some great shots. This one right here was out. This was along Highway 93 northwest of Congress. This was shot from a good distance away. Big positive bolt that was coming out of the anvil there. It was shot with an 85 millimeter lens, and I was in a pretty safe area. You can see the anvil's blowing off this way, so I'm not underneath that area where that big positive charge is building up, and you can still come away with a pretty decent picture. Avoid, I think we touched on this a couple times, but avoid positioning directly beneath the anvil of a storm. It's really tempting. You've got this beautiful storm going up, and you're right in front of it. You're going, oh, I'm not in a bad spot. I'm watching this microburst. You are in a bad spot. If you're right underneath that anvil at just about any time, if that anvil is high enough that it's building up positive charge and has ice crystals in it in the atmosphere, you can get an anvil bolt that comes right out on top of you. One thing I recommend doing, if you have time and you can while you're out, I don't recommend while you're driving staring at a radar app or your cell phone, but if you're pulled off the side of the road, you're set up, you're shooting, Radar Scope is a great resource. It's an app that costs $9 on the App Store. They have for Android and for iOS. And you can actually get a subscription that shows you in real time where lightning's hitting. And there's a distance tool in that app where you can measure the distance between where you are and where the lightning is actually occurring. And it's great to just, visually a lot of times you can tell and you can get an idea of how far away lightning is, or you can count the amount of time that goes from the lightning strike to the thunder. But it's really easy to just be able to pull out an app, look at that app and go, okay, the closest lightning strike to me right now is 10 miles away. Okay, I can be comfortable. Okay, now they're getting inside of 2 and 3 miles. It's probably time to move. And then finally, don't be the tallest object in any given area. Anytime there's a storm, we all look for those big, wide open views, and it's great to get an elevated view. Just make sure you're not the biggest thing in that spot. All right, data and cell phone service. This is a handy dandy. You go on Verizon's website, look at all that coverage. Sweet! Wow, I can go anywhere out here and I can have service, right? No. All right, so we move away from the marketing piece of that. This is from a website where they've actually done testing with real phones, real signals, and it'll show you where there is a cellular connection. That's not 3G, that's not 4G LTE, that's not 5G. This is just where you can complete a phone call if your life depended on it. This is a little bit of a different map than what they show, right? And now, here's the part where I give you my handy dandy guide to Verizon service. Everybody says Verizon is the best, right? I'm going to tell you how Verizon works. Okay. 1X. That's Verizonese for no service. 1X extended. Verizonese for no service. 3G. No service. 3G extended. No service. 4G, 1 bar. Get down on your knees, pray, and you might be able to complete a phone call. 4G, 4 bars, you might be able to get Radar Scope to update. Now and again, if you're standing next to the tower and hugging it and licking it. Other than that, don't depend on your data service, because a lot of times you won't have it. This year was even worse for me because I have a little bit older phone. I have an iPhone 7, and about a week into the chase season, my antenna started failing. So I went through about 85% of this chase season with no data and no cell phone service. My wife wanted to kill me. I have a new phone coming this week, so I'm kind of excited about that. I can be back in the land of the connected when I'm at least along the freeway system. The good news is when you're in the major cities and along the bigger freeways, most of the time you're going to have data. But the idea is not to depend on it with your life. Knowledge is power. Educate yourself before you go out. The best tool that you can have out there is your brain and your decision making. I highly recommend that anybody who hasn't done it attends the National Weather Service Skywarn Spotter training classes. They're great. It's not like they're going to charge you $500 to go attend their workshop and teach you nothing. They actually teach you some good, valuable stuff that you can use in the field. You'll learn how to identify different storm features and actually be a useful resource to the National Weather Service in reporting stuff while you're out there. learn to visually identify storm features. So when you don't have radar, you don't have an app you can depend on, you can actually look at the sky and you can assess a storm. You can look at an updraft and say that's a healthy updraft. That's a storm that is going to be around for a little while. That's an outflow dominant storm. That's a new storm that's developing and is likely to produce some lightning. You can learn to pick up on these things really quickly just by looking at the storm itself, but you have to know what you're looking for. All right, now, how much time do I have left?
3 minutes.
Okay, perfect. So this is the first year I haven't gone over. So excited. I left some time for questions, and this can be anything. I know we went really quick through some of this stuff, and I didn't hit on any meteorology, so if you guys have any questions there, feel free. Anything.
So general question, could you just like save some awesome for the rest of us, or?
Okay, Imperial. I'm gonna name you Imperial. How many tornadoes did you see this year? 18? 14?
That's cool.
Okay, I only beat you by 4, and I was out like 3 weeks more than you. So,
Still baby.
shush.
Well, you just gotta stay away from the storm season.
Well, that too. Anybody?
I thought to avoid the lightning, you just hold up a 1-iron.
Usually to avoid the lightning, I just bring Greg. If I go out to Marsh Station and I see this guy coming, you might pack your bags, bring your stuff. You're done. It's over. You might as well leave. Drive back to Phoenix. Start making your dinner plans. This guy can kill storms better than almost anyone.
That's my superpower.
You haven't heard that?
But he is kind of lucky.
To avoid lightning, you hold up a 1-iron.
Fair enough.
Because God can't even hit a
There's
1-iron.
one iron. Well, that's probably some truth to that. All right, well, I'm going to fill up a little bit of this time. I have I run a company called Incredible Weather Adventures, and we do storm photography workshops. We do chases for both monsoon and the plains. So if anybody is interested in learning about this stuff, it's a little bit different. I know you guys have probably seen the chase companies and whatnot online, where they pile everybody into a van and they take them around, and they're not really teaching them anything. They're just taking them and showing them a storm. We do things a little bit differently. We're going to teach you how to chase. We're going to teach you how to make good decisions while you're out there. We're going to teach you how to be safe, and we're going to teach you how to capture what you see. So we've got. This year we're done with plain stuff, but I do have a handful of monsoon workshops coming up. One partnered with this man back here, Mr. Greg McCown. So he and I are doing one, what is it, end of August, right? So he might be able to dig up the date. Right? But anyway, so we have 4 coming up here, 2 in July, 2 in August. My other one is partnered with Sean Parker. A lot of you probably know Sean, follow his photography work. He's an excellent photographer and has been upping his storm chasing game too the last few years too. So that'll be a lot of fun. So if anybody's interested in doing that, most of them are 5-day workshops.
August 22nd to the 24th.
22nd through the 24th. Okay, so, and basically the way those work is we go out during the day and into the evening, we'll chase storms, and then if you live around here in your local, you're free to, we will return you to your home territory, and you can sleep in your own bed. You don't have to sleep in a grungy hotel down in Wilcox or something, with my corgi. We'll get you home at the end of the night, and then we'll start it up again the next morning and do the same thing. We also do 1-day sessions if somebody's just interested in an intro to storm chasing and they want to learn a little bit more about how the process works, and wants to go out for a day and afternoon. That can either be local or we can do it at a destination. I love doing monsoon photography in Monument Valley, the Grand Canyon, Sedona. Arizona is just packed with these iconic places that are just beautiful for photographing storms. So I highly recommend that if you're used to just doing all your photography work here and in Tucson, explore a little bit, get out. There are a lot of great locations that you can hit, and lots of fun stuff to see out there. Nobody's got a question?
Yeah,